Video is inspired by someone that paid one of consultancy fee consultation just to know why the timing belt in his 206 petrol engine is always failing, 1.4 liter engine. So I explained to him what most likely could be the cause, and how to prevent that. So I'm going to do a video on that, educating you guys how exactly what I told him, and how you can help yourself if you own a 206, 307, 206 plus, 207 with this TU5JP, TU3JP, and the TU1JP. So I'm going to show you guys certain things for you to be able to understand. So let's start. So you can see this is what I found online. This is a TU1JP. So TU1JP is actually a 1.4 liter engine, no, 1.1 liter engine, which most 206 user in Nigeria don't even know about. They buy this 206 and they always request for 1.4 liter engine, which is very good. I also recommend them. But it's just that most time they end up buying 1.1 liter, thinking it's actually 1.4. Or maybe their engine might actually be 1.4 and it failed or has a problem, and they decide to change the engine and they end up buying 1.1, not knowing that they are not actually the same, or one or two. So now so as you can see here on this title, it say 1.1 liter engine, which is TU1JP. So people that own 206 with a 1.4 liter engine might be surprised that, I mean, this looks like 1.4, but yet the title of this image is showing 1.1. So personally, I can't even tell you which one is 1.1 or 1.4 because they look alike. It's not just 1.4, they also say 1.6 that looks like this. So let me show you another one. So this one, according to the website where I got it, say this is 1.4. Looking at the engine itself, they are basically all the same. They look alike. You could say, oh, the intake exhaust manifold has a different design, like the oxygen sensor is mounted on top. Unlike this one, there's no oxygen sensor on top of the exhaust manifold. But exhaust manifold is an accessory. So when you look at the engine itself, it becomes hard to tell if which one is which. So they claim this is 1.4. Now there's another engine most people don't know about. They only know about once they see open a 206 bonnet and they see engine that looks like this, they all call it 1.4. Now there's a 1.6, which is TU5JP. So the TU5JP actually looks like this. There might be differences. See, I've seen all these engines, driven them. 1.1, 1.4, 1.6. I've all driven all of them, even worked on them. But the thing is, sometimes I will be like, oh, I'll see something that looks a little bit different from the other, like the 1.4. But after a while, I will forget it because that 1.6 is not really that common. Because the common 1.6 people know about is the TU5JP4. But I'm talking about TU5JP, which most people probably don't even know exists. So like I said, they look alike, these three engines. So now the reason why I'm pointing this out is because these things will be confusing when it comes to timing belt replacement. So let's go further. So now For the TU5, let me see. Let me leave it like this. TU5JP, that's TU5JP, which is 1.6. TU3JP, which is 1.4, and TU1JP, which is 1.1. They all have one camshaft. I only have one camshaft on the cylinder head. So that's overhead camshaft. So when you look at the image, you can see the one marked 1. So that 1 is the cylinder 1. No, camshaft. Kind of distracted right now. It's camshaft. That what you see there, that part you can see there with the mark 1 is the camshaft. Now the one that has the mark 2 that is pointed, can you call it an arrow? But it has that mark 2. That's number 2. That number 2 is the camshaft sprocket. Number 9 is the timing belt tensioner, the what Nigeria call adjuster. So these 3 things I mentioned are very important. In fact, it's most especially the number 2 on this image and number 9. They are very important when it comes to, if you own a 206, pay very attention to this. Otherwise, you'll be having timing belt failure every now and then, especially if you live in Nigeria. So let me show you the other. Like this is TU5JP4. So this one has 2 camshafts. Intake cam, that's number 1 is the intake camshaft, number 2 is the exhaust camshaft. You can see their sprocket number 4 and number 5. The tensioner is number 7, while the roller is number 8. Recall the other one has only tensioner. There was no timing belt roller. It was just timing belt tensioner. So, but for this 1.6 with 2 camshafts, they have timing roller. So let me show you again. So you can see only one camshaft. This is so you can see there is no roller there. It's only the tensioner that you have. So now let me explain why you need to know this. All 206 with 1.4 liter engine, it does not necessarily mean that they all use the same timing belt, that they all have the same timing sprocket, that they all use the same timing tensioner. Again, if you live in Nigeria, timing tensioner is the one they call timing, Nigeria's locally called timing belt adjuster. So, but for the purpose of people live outside Nigeria, or you want to know the actual technical term, there's no need for us to be that, going professional here. It's timing belt tensioner. So they are not all the same, even though they look alike, the engines, and they could actually be the same engine, the same 1.4 or TU3JP. Yet the timing belt, the camshaft sprocket and the timing belt tensioner, they differ. So if you go and take the timing belt that is meant for the other engine, same model of engine but different timing tensioner or camshaft sprocket, your timing belt, either it will not enter or it will fail few kilometers after use, or while in use it is going to fail and damage your engine. So that's the mistake people make, and it's one of the reasons why, to be honest, I tend to warn people. I think I've done a video about this in the past. I can't remember how many years back. Either I've done a video, I've written an article on this. I can't remember which one, but I tweeted this. There was a time I tweeted it, even in the Lion community, the WhatsApp group. There was time I took my time to educate members with this particular issue. I think I call one person was having this issue over and over. The timing belt keep cutting, damaging the cylinder head or the valves, intake and exhaust valves. So I took my time to educate. So I'm going to show you guys how to be able to identify which, irrespective of which engine model, at least you should be able to know this is the timing belt to go for, and how to identify which timing belt will serve on that your engine. But the reason why I'm saying irrespective of engine, I don't even know how to differentiate the 1.1 from 1.4 from 1.6. I don't know. It's not as if, like I said, if you put those three engines together and I look at them, yeah, of course I'll be able to tell. But because, like I said, like that 1.6 is not really that common. Then the 1.1 also not that. To be honest, the 1.1 liter engine in 206, I think I've only come across, like, I know that are 1.1, not because I opened the bonnet and saw that. No, I know probably from the V when they are purchased as foreign use or something, I could tell this is 1.1, or from the timing belt, or so. But in that case, I would say only two actually that I personally have encountered. So it's not like a special engine where I would take take a note or how to identify it, that no. So in that case, there is a better way for you to know which timing belt to use before you wreck your engine. Okay, so I prepared something. Okay, so it's not that clear. It's a hand sketch, not necessarily a sketch. So I wrote this thing down. This actually has been there. I prepared this as 20, is it 17 or 16? It's been long, but the one I wrote down have started tearing, so I had to write another one. So now the first one here, you can see TU3JP, TU3A. So this TU3JP is the 1.4 liter engine, which is very common in Peugeot 206. It's a common engine, even though most people that will have 1.1 will still regard theirs as 1.1 unknowingly. No, regard theirs as 1.4, ignorantly or unknowingly. So, but it's a common engine in 206, very durable. It's just a good engine, and good for economy and the rest. You also find it in 206 plus. You also find it in 207. You also find it in 307. It's at least T5 307. Yeah, you'll find this 1.4 liter engine, which is TU3JP. Now, depending on Peugeot cars, what you might see could be TU3A, not TU3JP. Well, basically, they are almost the same engine. TU3A, like 207, you find it there, and I think 206 plus too. The 206 plus, you'll find TU3A. I know for a fact that in 207, that's what is called TU3A, not TU3JP. But like I said, looking at the engine, you can barely tell the difference. So TU3JP, TU3A, just regard them as same engine. Accessories not identical. There might be some, I expect there will be changes inside the engine, maybe the camshaft change, this and that, just to make it a little bit more. I think it's same power. Don't think there's any more difference. 75 horsepower. So maybe just to be more efficient in terms of fuel economy. Now Now you can see it has it uses two timing belts depending on which version of the TU3 or the, let's just say, 1.4 liter petrol engine. Depending on the version of the R1.4 that is on your 206 or 207 or 206 plus or 307. Now look at after the serial number, you see where I wrote timing belt. So number 1, you see 104 DTS. So that 104 DTS actually means 104 teeth. You know the timing belt, the way they look, you have to count. So that teeth means on that time, particular time is 104. If you count it, what you get there is 104 teeth. So it's also technically DTS when timing. So so this one is 104. Most 206 users theirs 104, but not all. In fact, it may not be most. Just that people always assume it's 104. But I will also educate you guys later how to know truly which one is yours. Or how to spot it early so that you note your timing belt teeth number. Now you can see the second on that same table. The second line, you see camshaft sprocket. On that same number 1, I wrote 38 DTS or teeth. Like I mentioned, it's only one camshaft that you have on these 3 engine models. I repeat, TU1JP, TU3JP, TU3A, or TU5JP. Only one camshaft. So the camshaft, this camshaft sprocket for the one with 104 teeth, the teeth on that camshaft sprocket is 38. And the last one on that line is the Peugeot part number for the timing belt tensioner. Now when you go down, you see that there's another timing belt used on this same engine, or a different version of this 1.4 liter engine, same engine model. This one is now 108 teeth. The camshaft sprocket is 42 against the other one that is 38. While the Peugeot part number is different as well. When you look at the one with 104 teeth timing belt, you can see that the part number is different. What that means is the tensioner, the timing belt tensioner is not the same with the one that has 108 teeth, or that has 42, that 108 teeth on the timing belt, or has 42 teeth on the sprocket. So you might say, oh, but how do you identify the tensioner? Well, you could use this part number I put and search online, see what they look like. They don't look alike. It's just that I didn't search for them so that I could show you guys the picture, what this tensioner actually look like. So you can interchange these tensioners when on a belt that was supposed to be 104, and you take the one of 108 tensioner and put on that one, it won't work. Or you take the sprocket of the other one and put, it won't work. Or you take the cylinder head of the one that is supposed to be the camshaft sprocket is supposed to be 38. Now you go and put it with the tensioner of the timing belt that is or the sprocket that is meant to be 42 teeth. So each of these sprockets and the tensioners must go together with the timing belt, as you can see them right on this screen. Okay, so that is for 1.4. So you can see 1.1 engine, which is TU1JP 4. You can also see that they're also different. They have 2 different belts for them, same engine. But what differentiates them is not necessarily the belt, the sprocket, the camshaft sprocket. The number of teeth on the sprocket is not, they are not the same. One is 38, one is 42. Why the tensioners are different. So you can see this one, 104 DTS, because also remember that the crankshaft as well has uh, kind of sprocket on it. There's a kind of sprocket on the crankshaft. So that the number of the teeth on that one might also be different. I expect I'm not sure, but I may not expect all of them to be the same. So all this will determine what you are getting yourself into. You can see the 100. This one is 100 teeth, 100 timing belt. The timing belt has 100 teeth. The camshaft has 38 teeth. Part number different. This one 104 42 DTS. Well, let's go to the 1.6. So the 1.6 has only one belt and camshaft sprocket and tensioner. So 101 with 42 teeth on the sprocket and timing tensioner as well. So now, how do you identify which one is yours? If you live in Nigeria, this is what I always tell people. Let's assume you buy a foreign used 206, not Nigerian used. But you could buy it Nigerian, who knows? You buy a foreign used 206. So the first thing I would tell you to do is use your VIN, if possible, to find out the part number of your timing belt. Or let's assume even if the foreign used one, it's possible the engine was replaced before I even got to Nigeria. What you need to do is, if I foreign used or not foreign used, remove the timing cover, remove the timing belt. But while removing the timing belt, you are not changing the belt immediately. I'm just telling you, before you even order the belt or before you buy the belt, so as you receive the car, remove the belt. Remove the belt, count the number of teeth on that belt. Count the number of teeth on the sprocket, camshaft sprocket. Then put back the timing belt. As you are doing that, check how it's tensioned, whether it enters freely or it enters and it still has a lot of gap. It couldn't tension well because the belt, maybe it was supposed to be 101 teeth. Instead, somebody initially put the one of 104 teeth or 108 teeth. I'm not saying it might be impossible to put 108 teeth on camshaft sprocket or crankshaft sprocket that is supposed to only work with 101 or 100 teeth or 101 teeth. Probably if you put that 108 timing belt, it probably will slip off immediately. The timing may not even set. I'm just saying, because of this happens to a lot of people. Mechanics, as they are doing that, they won't care. They will just force it in anyhow. By the time your engine runs for a few minutes, hours, or a few kilometers, boom, or a few weeks, or a month or so, to give up. So count it. As you are putting back the belt, you can tell how good you were able to put the belt back, whether it entered without any abnormality. In that case, you say, okay, yeah, this is actually the belt. Then you can now be able to check, okay, according to your VIN. Your VIN is saying it's supposed to be 104 teeth, or the timing belt supposed to be 104 teeth. Is that actually what is there? So if it's that, then you can now place your order. You can now order exactly that part number. You can get the part number on that particular number of teeth. Or you can just say, hey, I want the timing belt of so engine that is one. They always write it on the pack, the number of teeth. The tensioner, you might not see the part number. You can go online and now check the tensioner and say, okay, fine. Does it look exactly like this one? Or you can go to the market and use, if you have to change the tensioner, use that particular one to get another one. So I don't get one that is a little bit different or has a different look. It must be that one. That's if you're changing the tensioner. With that, once you maintain that same thing, if you now change the engine, you change that engine, do not assume that what is there on the current, the newly purchased used engine, or even new engine that you mounted on your car will be exactly with the same number of teeth, of timing belt, or camshaft sprocket, or crankshaft socket, or tensioner on the old engine you removed. Do not assume that. Open it up and check. I know it's a mess, but that's how 206 is. Because that's why I say sometimes if it's a funny use, there's always a high probability that it's the same engine the car was sold with. So in that case, the VIN is enough to tell you what is meant to be there. But over here in Nigeria, where people change engine as in sometimes almost every year, you know, you can't tell because number one, they don't even know how to identify which one is which one is. They even put 1.1 thinking it's 1.4. They might so, or they'll put the same 1.4, only that the timing this thing, they are not the same. And then you go and buy that same 104 you've been using on your old engine, thinking that it will work. Your mechanic might not, the mechanic will notice it, but you'll be like, well, what's his problem? He doesn't care. He will put it anyhow. Probably you may not want to talk so that it look like, oh, maybe you mean you can't even come on timing belt that you cannot change. You can't fit properly. So that's what I'm saying. This is what you should do as long as you own these cars I mentioned. 206, 206 plus, 307, and 207. Unless you now have a different engine like a TU5JP for those 2.0 liter engine or any other petrol engine that has nothing to do with these engines I mentioned. Yeah, you probably don't need to bother. But as long as this, you see these ones I've shown. Once your engine looks like this, whether it's 1.1 or 1.4 or 1.6, trust me, go and check this. Maybe if you live outside Nigeria too, I will advise you before you buy that timing belt, go and check this. Remove it, don't order, don't place the order yet. Confirm. Like I said, even before I remove the belt, you can tell whether the belt is a perfect match for that engine, the timing belt. If it's not, you will show the timing will be off, or it might be very hard to remove, or it will come off very easily as if it wasn't even tight at all. Which before you might even be showing on the timing. If it's too tight, you'll be hearing the sound of timing belt. When belt is too tight, the sound of engine will not be, it won't be sweet at all. You'll be hearing one kind of sound from the timing chamber. So you have to know how to prevent wrecking your engine as long as you drive these cars I mentioned. 206, 207, 206 plus, and 307. They have these engines I mentioned. Don't say I did not do any good thing for you. Like I said, I've done this, I've tweeted this years in the. Try to remember when I did. Anyway, it doesn't matter, but what matters is you have that option now. So, going back, so what I'll do is I'm going to share this on my community post on YouTube channel. Share it a few other social platform that I have what do you call it? Social media platforms, or maybe on my blog as well. I don't know. I'll just so that if you Google it anytime, you always find this. Even if you don't recall what I mentioned in this video, let this thing I wrote down be a guide. Let it be a guide. So if you see it, save it. I'm not going to do any form of copyright or anything. Then what I mean is so that I won't be able to download it. Of course, my name is already there. Of course, some stupid ones may want to edit it and remove my name as if they are the original creator of this. So, the most important thing is use it to help yourself. Um, I don't know if there's any other thing to add. There are cases where your belt might actually be the correct timing belt, but because of bad um, repair done in the past, you may assume that the timing belt might be a wrong one. For example, if you put two-cylinder head gasket on any of these engines, trust me, timing belt, even if it's a perfect match for the camshaft sprocket, for the tensioner or the crankshaft sprocket, it will not be easy to enter. What I mean is I'm referring to all these thick or thicker head gasket they sell in Nigeria for these engines. If you put some, there's one I saw the other day with three head gaskets. What do you think will happen when whoever that mounted it put the timing belt? Because they already designed the engine to work one cylinder head gasket, a specific thickness of gaskets to work with a number of timing belts, maybe 101 or 102. So once you make it thicker, increase the distance between cylinder head and the block. What do you expect? You want the timing belt to enter easily? That's the thing. So those are some of the issues that may even confuse you and mislead you, thinking that you actually have a wrong belt, not knowing it's actually the correct teeth of your belt that is supposed to be there, or camshaft that is supposed to be there. So you now go and buy a wrong, maybe you found 101 there, 101 teeth or 100 teeth. You now go and buy 104 because you assume that it was too tight to put the timing belt, you couldn't enter easily. You now go and buy a wrong one, which would damage your engine. So in that case, I don't know what to say. Maybe you should put back the normal gasket. If it's meant to be one, put one back. If you have to replace it, buy another one, replace it so that you can be able to know exactly what you are dealing with. Usually when you put that kind of thing, you see, if you are using two-cylinder head gasket for engine that runs with timing belt, don't expect your belt to also last. Trust me. You have already stretched that belt. Let's assume it's the correct size. You stressed it, you stretch it, you put necessary stress on that belt to work with further distance from the block and the cylinder head. So it won't be able to last as it's supposed to. There could be reasons why you end up, there are some advantages. At least one advantage I know, if you put more than one cylinder head gasket on interference engines. Timing belt, if it breaks, if it's two-cylinder head gasket or three-cylinder head gasket, most likely there is always a probability that your valves will be protected. They won't touch the pistons. But even if they do, it just be a scratch, so it won't cause any major harm compared to the ones with single head gasket. So yeah, that's one advantage I can tell you. Other than that, I know sometimes people do it because their cylinder heads already have issues. So using two, they call it stacking up the cylinder head gasket. So using two or three, most times solve that problem. The car won't overheat, water won't, coolant will not leak out from there or stuff like that. So it does happen. But if your systems are okay, why using that? I put that too. One thing I will know is, if you put two-cylinder head gasket or more, the cooling system will drop lower. So if your car has been within 5 minutes giving same, let's assume 20 degree ambient temperature, within 5 minutes of engine running, your coolant temperature maybe comes up and stay at 80 degrees Celsius. I'm just giving assumption. If you put two cylinder head gasket, what will now happen is it may take it 30 minutes to get to that 80 degrees Celsius. No, not even 80, maybe 70 this time, and you won't go beyond 70. It will stay there. While in motion, it will keep going down, further down. Even though you have thermostat, your fan is not bypassed, it's still factory. So the further you put, remember that the cylinder head gasket is actually there to transfer heat from the block cylinder to cylinder head, or cylinder head to block, and the coolant, everything, transfer the heat. So the further you push both component, the cylinder head from the block, the heat doesn't get to the other side. So the engine will run cooler. I know some will say, oh, but is it not better if your engine runs much cooler? Yeah, it will suffer overheating. What I mean is it won't suffer overheating. I mean, chances, how would I even put it? Because if your water pump fails, it doesn't matter how many gaskets you put between the cylinder head and the block. It will overheat. Doesn't matter. If your radiator blocks, same thing. So it doesn't matter how many gaskets you put. Once there's an issue with the cooling system, boom, it's going to fail. The other thing, it might take a little bit longer for the gasket to fail, but they will eventually fail. So my point, bringing it back to what I said, the point is, so if you stack more than one head gasket on the cylinder, between the cylinder head and block, it's going to affect your timing. Most times, you may not be able to set the timing well, and it may confuse technician thinking that it was a wrong timing belt, because it will be very hard to enter, to fix it in and tension it well. It will be very difficult, because the factory gap has now been altered for that belt. Okay, so hope this makes sense, and like and subscribe to the video, and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and expect more videos. All right.